Hello, I'm Lucia Manopoulou, South Hill Park curator. Today, I'm delighted to invite Dr. Jennie JewittHarris in conversation with Mike ODonovan, South Hill Park member of the board, who are discussing how fine art practice contributes to develop the understanding of attitudes towards organ donation. Art-informed research in medicine is an emerging field which involves the rigorous and creative approaches of both the arts and the sciences. Medical professional and fine artist Dr. Jennie JewittHarris uses her art to develop an understanding of the complex concerns relating to organ donation, and in particular to the donation of corneas. Anything But the Eyes installation will be at South Hill Park in 2021. So welcome, Jennie and Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So would you like to introduce yourselves? So let's start from Jennie, the artist, and then Mike.
Hello, I'm Jennie JewittHarris. I'm an artist who works in the field of where art meets medicine. And I've been working as a doctor in the field of transplantation for many years and have a special interest in transplantation and organ donation. And I'm doing an exhibition called Anything But the Eyes, which is a demonstration of my research work.
Hello, I'm Mike ODonovan. I'm one of the board of trustees of South Hill Park, and I have a particular interest in organ and tissue donation. I'm an organ donor and a tissue donor potentially myself, and in wearing another hat, I chair an organ donation committee in an NHS trust. So this is a subject particularly dear to my heart. So Jennie, I've been given the pleasure of introducing you and just asking you a few questions about your art.
Great.
And one of the things that is fascinating me is how do I know what's your opinion about how art can inform or influence a medical subject, particularly something as sensitive as organ donation or tissue donation?
Yes, it's a very interesting subject. The reason I was drawn towards looking at organ donation using art was because I feel that art can express things in a way where perhaps people can't find the right words. And having worked in the field of transplantation for many years, it's become clear to me that there are many people who are very happy to be organ donors, but draw the line, which is their expression, when it comes to donating their eyes. And a lot of research has already been done in this field, but hasn't actually thrown up any answers. A lot of people assume it's because of squeamishness or religion, but it's actually, in most cases, it's not that. So it was clear to me that there was something here to be explored, and that art would be a good place because it's about emotions and expression and fears and concerns. Art would be a good place to start and perhaps work on this subject with people who have these worries.
Thank you. And I guess from your answer, you feel positive that along the way your art can influence people positively about this subject, yeah?
I think the positive influence is in that it opens discussion and understanding. I think it's a very emotive subject, as you know, organ donation, and people have very strong opinions about it. And there are people out there who have some strong concerns about it, who feel they can't be voiced. So this is an opportunity to give a voice to some of those concerns in a new and hopefully interesting way, and open up discussion. That's what I would like to see at South Hill Park, and indeed what I've already seen when I've exhibited the work before, that people get, when they see the artworks and realize what it's about, they start talking and they start either relating to the concerns that are demonstrated through the artworks or not understanding them at all. And I've seen some people go around, married couples or whatever, not even knowing what their other half's thoughts about this subject were. So the contribution that I feel that this is making is to open it up, get people talking, hopefully take away some of the the anger that can sometimes accompany discussions about this subject, and really get to a point of understanding, because once we have understanding, then we can move forwards and find new and different ways of doing things.
You're clearly very passionate, and I suspect your passion's already come across, but why, in the midst of organ and tissue donation, which covers a wide field, why are corneas and the eyes so important to you?
Well, all of transplantation is important to me. Transplantation as a whole field is such a transformative medicine. It, as you know, saves lives, transforms lives, makes a wonderful, fantastic difference. I think it's one of the massive successes of modern medicine. And with the eyes, it means, I mean, to take someone from being blind and in pain, because a lot of the conditions are extremely painful that corneal transplant treats, to take them from that back to a normal life again, I just think is a fantastic thing. But we're asking a lot of other people in order to make that happen. And it's a meeting of medicine and psychology and spirituality, really, when you think about donating eyes. And the reason why I pulled out the donation of the eyes as a separate subject was because it's been shown over and over again that it's the one thing that people are the most likely to say no to donating. So there's something very special going on with the eyes. There's something really different about them. And I remember years ago when I was working at the Department of Health, someone had even written on the organ donor form, anything but the eyes. And that's quite a recurring theme. And I just thought, wow, what a subject to explore with people. And because I have a background in arts, medicine and psychology, what an interesting subject to pull together those aspects and hopefully try and make something a bit different and interesting that makes a contribution to understanding.
Clearly this is a strongly emotional subject, and I was wondering, how do you in your art try to capture the emotional feelings of those who are so reluctant to donate? And they may feel it's a good thing to do, but something else is saying to them, I find this very difficult. How do you capture that tension?
Yes, it's really, it's challenging, there's no doubt about it. So what I did was I interviewed a group of people individually who were specifically chosen because they've agreed to donate all of their organs except the eyes. So they're in that specific group who really want to be an organ donor, but felt they had to say no to the eyes and feel very strongly about it. So I started out by interviewing each one of them in depth using what we call a semi-structured technique to try and reveal metaphors and deep beliefs about their concerns. Then I took away all that interview material and started to make art about it, working some of their metaphors into my artworks. Then I went back to them all again to give me feedback on which of the artworks really connected with them and their concerns. And some of the artworks didn't connect at all, so I ditched those, and some of them made them cry. So we explored what that was about, and those are the works. Obviously, when I say made them cry, this was in a very careful, closely monitored situation. And it was a successful outcome in that the work had connected with what they were most concerned about. And it revealed all sorts of interesting metaphors. Like somebody described their concern as being almost like erasing their black box recorder of their own life. So that is expressed in one of the artworks as a sort of internal brain black box recorder, and that they couldn't separate out this idea of their anatomy and their sort of spiritual life. So I took all of what they told me and put it into the artwork in a completely open, non-judgmental way, to open that up to other people to see if they connect with those concerns as well. And some people do, and some people don't. And the most important thing to me is that opened up conversation and dialogue about this very sensitive and difficult subject.
Thank you. You mentioned opening up a conversation. Your artwork is very striking. I've had the pleasure of seeing some of it already, and I think it can provoke strong reactions, love it or hate it, and that's great. But perhaps I could ask you, if when people see your artwork, whatever they may think about the art, what are the one or two critical thoughts you want them to have in their head when they go away? I.e., you have your art has been seen. It's one or two critical thoughts that you think are very important that you hope people will get from that experience.
Yes, that's a really interesting question. I want them to just engage with the work and think about the work, and whether or not they connect with it or are pushed away by it. I do know that my work is very Marmite. You know, it's some people love it and some people find it too challenging, and I get that. It's medical artwork. It's you know, not always something that one would want to put on the walls, but it's there to get people engaged and thinking. And there's a lot of words and detail written into the artworks. I'd love people to go up and really look and really think about what the artwork is saying to them and how it connects with them emotionally. And if someone went away and had a discussion with it about that with their families and said, oh, I saw this and I felt like this about it, how would you feel about it? I would see that as a really good outcome. I'm not worried about whether or not people like it, you know, in a traditional like or not like a piece of artwork. I'm more interested in whether they could engage with it and get something from it, and went away thinking about it and thinking about the subject that it's all about.
I think that's very inspiring, Jenny. As given my own personal interest in organ donation, if you can persuade those who come to see your work to go home and have that conversation, and maybe just persuade one person to change their mind about donation who was on the fence before, I think that would be a most wonderful outcome for your art and for our community. Yeah.
I hope so. I mean, interestingly, I've spoken to a lot of people who've been to see the work before, and a couple of people went away and said, well, I don't feel like that at all. So I'm now going to go away and register and make sure that my organs are donated. And other people have come along and seen the work and felt relieved that someone else felt the same way that they did, and said, well, you know, I haven't registered because I didn't want to give my eyes, but now I will go away and register at least for the other organs, because now I know that it's sort of not that it's sort of understandable, my feelings, and that I couldn't put them into words, but someone else has managed to put them into a medium that at least I can connect with. So yes, it's about opening up that dialogue, even if the dialogue's just with yourself and not necessarily with another person.
Well, thank you. I'm really looking forward for our audience at South Hill Park to have the opportunity to see your work. As you say, it will provoke, and hopefully it will generate discussion on a very important subject. And we're really looking forward to your work being exhibited and for many, many people to see it and think about the subjects that you're trying to make us take a greater interest in. Thank you so much, Jenny.
Thank you very much. I'm absolutely delighted to be exhibiting at South Hill Park. It's a wonderful venue, and I'm really looking forward to hearing the feedback about the artworks and so on. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you both. That was an interesting conversation.
It was.
Thank you, Mike, for all those insightful questions. We're really hoping that we will have you both again back in South Hill Park when the exhibition is on, to have a more extended and a conversation that we can open it up with the public. And we are much looking forward to have Jenny's work in South Hill Park later in 2021.